Hey everybody, it's Kurt Manana Nomas. How are you? Today is Thursday, and as the title of this live says, it says Thursdays are the day in this house. So Thursdays are the day in this house, meaning every Thursday, kind of the way that I've built what I do here, and that's a sign of me getting old, right? I got to put my readers away. But what I do here working with Lifter LMS and WP Tonic and Manana No Mas and the training I do with the Power Sport Academy and with the Marine Retailers Association, you see when you have different verticals that all contribute to a common success, right? If I'm just going to be blunt about it, I found that I had to time block myself. Now you hear a lot about time blocking, right? So everyone's got their own interpretation of what time blocking is, but there's time that I need to dedicate to this. Okay. So today I finished Luke this week, and now I'm starting the book of John. Just got done reading the introduction and just highlighting a couple of things that I want to kind of think and ruminate on. Okay. So having that time blocking allows me to kind of calm and recenter and get my thoughts ready for the day. Now, it doesn't have to be scripture. You can do whatever you want, right? The other thing that I do is I record things in this tablet. So I have this tablet created not only for meeting notes, because I store all my meeting notes in here, but let me pull this up for you. Just give you a quick little look-see-do. I keep my schedule in here, okay? So I use this as a full planner and journal. So on one page is the day with what's obligated. If I swipe, I'm going to see notes for the day, right? So I just read from the book of John. So I'm going to put kind of what inspired me right here. I'm going to put my priorities right here. I picked 2 or 3 things that I just really want to make sure I get done or consider for the day. And then lastly, at the end of the day, I might put some notes in here. Now, if it's a day that had some impact for me and I want to journal it, I have a journal page built in as well, and then it goes to the next day. And then there's a week in review, a month in review. There's all these things. So that's like almost 1,300 pages of a planner and journal that I have right here in my digital tablet. Now that's part of the time blocking. So I read something inspirational. It's not always scripture. Sometimes it's a John Maxwell book. My wife just got me this giant textbook looking thing. I'm going to be reading that soon too. I like to read. Reading kind of slows things down and calms me down a little bit. Okay. So that's part of that time blocking. Now, when I say Thursdays are the day in this house, well, the way that I've scheduled my weeks out, I do this. I try to limit Monday to just 1 or 2 meetings. Okay. Tuesdays, I kind of leave open for people to grab. So if I have new clients, follow-up things that I'm doing with clients, any of that, I try to leave that for Tuesdays and Wednesdays if I'm being legitimate with you. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I kind of use a lot of flex time there for clients and client communication. Okay. And that's when you'll see me making things like the newsletters, scheduling my social posts, things like that. So that Tuesdays and Wednesdays are when that kind of happens. Thursday is off the books. Thursday is my time to read, to get my head on straight, to maybe jump out and make a message, post a live, right? Typically, you'll see me on Thursday mornings posting something. And then I jump in for a day of Zoom marathon. I call it Zoom marathon, but we do a lot from StreamYard and we do a lot from Zoom. So I've got the Lifter LMS Ask Me Anything call, and I've got the Lifter LMS Office Hours and Mastermind call that I moderate. You might think, oh, big deal. It's just a couple of Zoom meetings. It kind of is a big deal because I have to be on the whole time, right? So that's 2 solid hours of anticipating people's questions, trying to answer their questions, be sharp as a tack, be nice, be cordial, be funny, and find the information that people are asking for in real time and do screen shares and stuff like that. When you're talking about, massive amounts of data and knowledge base that you kind of have to be familiar with to answer these things in a reasonable way, it can be taxing. So I'm not going to lie, that does tire me down. And then before those two calls, I do the WP Tonic podcast with Jonathan Denwood. Okay. So when you say, okay, you don't just jump on a podcast, right? There's prep time. So I'm going to want to look at the show notes. I'm going to want to, research who it is we're interviewing for the day, make sure that I put that person into a position of having a spotlight on them. I look at it as an obligation. If I'm running a podcast or I'm co-hosting a podcast and we have a guest to interview, it's not the Kurt show to put the light on Kurt. It's the whatever show to put the light on whoever. Okay. So I try to know who I'm talking to, what their major accomplishments are, the initiatives that they want to talk about. And I try to make sure that I'm somewhat knowledgeable about helping them in that space. And so that takes time. So that's that time blocking thing that I'm talking about. So that takes us to Fridays. Fridays, I etch out a little bit of time right around 8:30 in the morning for Jonathan Denwood. Now, if he's watching this, maybe he'll hear this and begin to take advantage of it. But I try to keep like 8:30 to 10 o'clock kind of open for Jonathan. Sometimes he needs me on the Membership Machine show. And my brain's messed up. That's Pacific time. I'm in Central. So it's really 10:30 for me, right? 10:30 in the morning till about noon. So I try to keep that 10:30 to noon Central time available for Jonathan. So what does that mean? That means that when I get up, I've got a few hours of time blocking, right? To get back into the book, reflect on the week that's already happened by looking back at my pages in my journal and my planner. And quite honestly, I kind of take inventory of where I'm at with our clients at Mañana No Mas. Fridays is a great catch-up day and to give our clients update information about their projects. So I might make a screen share video about this is the tool we added to your website. This is how you add a course to Lifter LMS. Here's the custom design we put into your WooCommerce cart. I want to make sure you understand where the elements are for the variables and stuff like that. And so Fridays are the day that I try to get that communication out to clients before the weekend. And then the weekend, as far as clients are concerned, we're not working, right? Am I sometimes pulling away some time and working on a Mañana No Mas project? Or am I working on a book that I'm writing? Or am I working on a new project? Yes, absolutely. But is it time that I actively schedule for clients? No, I stopped doing that a few years ago because our time is very important. Now, something that people don't know about me, I don't go public with this all the time. I suffer from a condition called shingles. I am also horribly afraid of the pharma industry. So I haven't taken the shingles shot yet. And I try to stay ahead of the curve and be really aware of my body and where my stress levels are at because it's a stress-induced kind of thing. Now, this week, we had some demands at Mañana No Mas that caused me to pull 2 all-nighters. So one, unfortunately, was over the weekend. The other one was Monday night. Monday, I worked until about 5:30 in the morning. And then I got a couple hours nap, and then I was right back at work again. You see, that's some of what happens when you're an entrepreneur is you say, oh, the good news is I can work whenever I want. Well, the bad news is you got to work when you have to also. Okay. So I had a client that needed stuff done. We doubled in, the team dug in. We got a lot of work done, but I had to stay up till about 5:30 in the morning to get some of it done that Tuesday morning. We met on Tuesday. The customer's plenty happy, right? So all of that works. Again, Mañana No Mas, getting shit done yesterday. That's our tagline. We got it done. We met the deadline. We're under budget for the client. Maybe not under budget for the time I had to put in, but we are under budget for the client. So we're on time and under budget. That's our promise to our customers. The problem is last night I could barely sleep. It felt like I had a broken rib. And I was like, what could I possibly have done to myself? I don't remember doing something. And then my wife said, maybe you're getting shingles. And then I was like, oh, let's hope not. So I got ahead of the curve, started taking, penicillin, amoxicillin. You're with me, right? So started taking something, preemptively, because I'm like, if it's shingles and I medicate quick enough, I might be able to get control of it before it surfaces, before it does something. Hey, LinkedIn user says hi. How are you? Good to see you. And anyone else that's watching live, feel free to jump in and put in any comments or anything like that. Maybe we can have a conversation. But we started a mini series last week on stress and anxiety. And as I woke up this morning and my wife said, maybe it's shingles, I thought, I got to jump on live and I got to talk about this. You see, time blocking helps keep the stressors. It helps me de-stress the stressors, right? By time blocking, I know what I got to do when I got to do it. I set myself up into these patterns. When I get out of a pattern, when I pull an all-nighter and work till 5:30 in the morning on something, that pulls me out of the pattern, and that can add stress. Now, stress is not the same as anxiety. That's what we've covered in the posts and the articles that we wrote last week. Stress is not the same as anxiety. Can stress lead to anxiety? Absolutely. But in the circles and the audiences that I have been in for the last few years, I'm hearing the term anxiety more and more and more. And I'm hearing it in different ways. And it's important to recognize stress is not anxiety. In fact, anxiousness is not anxiety by a definition. Anxiety is kind of like, if you suffer from anxiety, real anxiety, you might need to see somebody. You might need to get some help. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist. Okay. But I did want to come out with some product that helped people reduce stress and live in a better mental health space. Now, this on top of the WordPress angst and drama lately, because I work in WordPress. I don't work for WordPress. Got to be very careful when you go live right now. You got to be careful how you say things. I work within the WordPress community, running an agency and making stuff for clients and doing the podcast stuff. So because I work in WordPress, I'm connected to a lot of other people that work in WordPress. And right now, people seem to be stressed out and talking about anxiety. There's that. There's the college age group at church I volunteer with. They mention anxiety all the time. Talked to my daughter last week. She was freaking out about anxiety. My wife, anxiety. And I thought, I got to make something. So we started a mini series about stress and anxiety last week, which led to the talk today about how I time block my days and time block my weeks. I want to encourage entrepreneurs, whether you work on the internet or you run a landscaping company, or my next door neighbor builds pools, right? He's the pool guy in town. Whatever it is, I want to encourage you to set up a rhythm to what you do. I understand that being self-employed gives us the ability to have freedom and diversity in our day and all these cool things. As a person like with an ADD type personality, and I like to jump on other things, it's still really important as a person to kind of time block yourself and have a little bit of stability or a guideline in how you address things. It helps you form your priorities and helps you to keep things in order. Okay. So as we did this mini series last week, we put out 3 posts so far. And one of the other things we did in the background that I did not go public with yet, so today's the day, was I reserved a URL called anxietywp.com. And anxietywp.com is going to be grown as a community site where we're encouraging people in the WordPress space to kind of jump in and pick the group that they're most associated with. We pre-populated a couple of groups in there. And there's things that we're doing in the background of the site as it begins to develop. For one, we're going to put out a couple of courses. One's going to be on journaling. I am a huge fan of journaling, and it's recent in life that I've become one. And it's really been a game changer. So we're going to put up a course on journaling. We're going to put up a course on reducing anxiety. We're going to put up another course, right? And all of these things are going to be about increasing our mental health, reducing stress, and focusing on our priorities. It's kind of hard because I'm a driven person that wants to talk about always pushing forward and finding success and being driven. And when you come at life from that perspective, it almost seems like a contradiction to say, hey, we got to pull back. We have to recenter. We have to extend ourselves a little bit of grace, refresh ourselves, re-energize ourselves so that we can move forward. You see, there's everything in life is a sense of balance. And you'll see people that push and push and push and push and push, and then they'll burn out and they'll either quit or they'll really hit a rough patch. And my goal is to try and work with people and help people identify for themselves how to push, 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 but then pull back just a little bit, right? Refresh, recenter, re-energize, and keep going. Refresh, recenter, re-energize, keep going. And, there's those workout plans like 75 hard, and you got to push, push, push for 75 days. And if you screw up, you got to start over, right? That is a push, 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 you might just give up situation in my mind. There's other fitness programs out there that are like push, 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 have a cheat day, push, 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 have a cheat day. You'll notice the results won't come as quickly as a 75 hard. If you were going to do the 75 hard completely, you'd look in the mirror at the end of 75 days and you'd be like, look at me, right? If you were to do what I said with the push, 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 have a cheat day, push, 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 have a cheat day, it's not going to be 75 days. It might be 150 days. It might be 200 days. But over the long run, you might have more stability in your quest for better physical fitness. I feel it's the same with our mental fitness. I feel like we need to push, pull back, push, pull back, push, pull back. And we do that through time blocking, our quiet times, and by having a plan. So if you're in the WordPress space, and I'm throwing this out as a call to action right now, if you're in the WordPress space and you're an early adopter of things, because this is brand new, nobody's in there yet but me, right? But if you're an early adopter and you like to get into things new and you're interested in this topic, whether you're in WordPress or not, I would encourage you to check out Anxiety WP, anxietywp.com. It's a new project. It's brand new. Like I said, nobody's in there yet. This is the first I'm talking about it publicly. And I want to ramp this thing up so that people over time begin to recognize it as a resource for the learning material, a resource for support and community, and a resource where other professionals in the WordPress space and other entrepreneurial minds can make referrals to one another so that as a business owner, everything's not 100% on your shoulders. As a business owner, you could go to this almost as a directory of, I need someone with graphics. I need someone with SEO skills. I need someone with digital marketing skills. I need someone with hosting knowledge. I need someone that understands not caching dynamic material. I need someone, you get the idea. You can't be all things to every customer when you run your own agency. And a lot of times, people that experience anxiety in the WordPress space are doing just that. They got started by themselves, their projects grow, and all of a sudden their clients have demands that they're not really 100% knowledgeable on how to solve, and it stresses them out. Imagine being able to just go to a site, find some like-minded people, share projects with people, and reduce the stress and put off anxiety for as long as possible working in this space. So that's what I've been working on. I'm always trying to find a way to take the skills that God gave me and pay it forward somehow, some way. Does it always work? No. Do sometimes things fail? Absolutely. But this one, I really felt when I reserved the URL, Anxiety WP. I was like, commercials. I really felt when I reserved this one, Anxiety WP. It just kind of spoke to me. Sometimes you reserve a URL and you're like, just in case. In this situation, I reserved this URL, Anxiety WP, and I was like, this is it. This is it. This is how I'm going to use the skills that God gave me and pay it forward. This is the one. I don't really suffer crippling anxiety like other people describe. And so from a certain perspective, I might appear to be removed from the situation. I might appear to not be able to relate in this way. But I look back on life and I go, where was I when I was 20? Where was I when I was 28? Where was I when I was 32? Where was I when I was 40? And I go, oh, I really did run an ebb and flow of stress and anxiety and overcoming and roadblocks and all those things. And now that I'm older, I think maybe I can help some folks out. So that's where we're at. You'll notice with this Anxiety WP project, I'll be adding some posts. I'm going to try to get some guest posts in with some of their ideas. I would love to do a couple of interviews, transcribe those interviews, and make content for that for the site. It is not a full-time job. It is not. I cannot allow it to be a full-time job. It is just a paying it forward initiative. And I just thought that it would be a good thing to do. So if you get a chance, check it out. You'll see a couple of posts coming up as well. But as we released our mini series on stress for Mañana No Mas, we started to see a lot of engagement on that subject. And I said, if we're going to get this much engagement on the subject, it deserves its own project. And so that's where it's at. Folks, pleasure. If you follow WP Tonic or Lifter LMS with the Ask Me Anything call or any of that stuff, I will see you later today. Have yourself a good one. If you are live on any of those, I encourage you, put in a post, say hello, let us know where you're from. We see, while we're doing these shows, we can see people making comments, and sometimes we get the opportunity to comment back or share your comment on screen. And it's really more fun when we know that people are there. So have yourself a great day. Finish the week strong. Here we are on Thursday. And tomorrow will be the day that I will be doing more and more with others. Have a good one. Bye-bye.